Hi, welcome to CFS Fibreglass. My name's Paul Lowe and I work in the admin section, and today I'm going to be interviewing Paul Bratell about what we intend to be a new product line. So Paul, what is the product line and why are we doing it?
Okay, well we've discovered that there's a whole huge market out there for applying epoxy and polyurethane resin coating systems to floors and even walls.
All right, okay.
Now, obviously, we already sell a hell of a lot of products to all sorts of customers: resin products, laminating products, glass fibre, and composites.
Yeah.
So this is a new area for the company that we can move into.
But isn't it particular because we sell an awful lot of roofing?
Absolutely, yes.
And the roofing contractors are basically doing a flat area, aren't they?
Yeah.
And so if the weather's not very good, they could do flooring as a contractor around the UK.
Yeah, this is true.
So it ties in nicely, that does.
Absolutely, yeah, because as you say, we have a lot of roofing contractors. Now, roofing contractors are pretty adaptable guys, so they can put their hands to pretty much any kind of job. So if they can't be roofing one day, flooring is traditionally, in an enclosed space, or have a roof over the heads. They can prepare the surface, apply these coatings, and have another string to the bow.
What sort of coatings are we talking about here specifically? I mean, what's the range that we will be selling in general terms?
Yeah, well, the traditional product is the epoxy high build. So that's a solid base epoxy. It can be in various colours, but that is the standard material that you may use for a traditional floor coating.
That's after doing what though?
After preparing the surface.
Oh, well, we'll talk about, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, because I do know you've been away for some training. But
that's right, yeah.
If we just talk about the products first.
Okay, so number one is the high build traditional product. Number two is the water-based product.
All right.
So believe it or not, water is added
water-based epoxy.
Yeah, water is added to the epoxy to create a cleaner product to use.
More environmentally friendly.
All right. Okay. But with the advancement of modern chemistry, these water-based products are almost as good as the traditional products.
Yeah.
They're catching up with them so quickly. It's amazing, really. There's also the solvent-free. So you've got water-based and solvent-free.
Yeah.
Both are very, very adaptable products and are now becoming more and more popular than ever because they don't have solvents, so therefore they're clean to work with.
Yeah. There's
no VOCs and volatile organic compounds to affect the atmosphere or the people using them.
What sort of floors are we talking about in general with regard to these epoxy? Yeah.
Almost any type of floor with a concrete base.
Right, a concrete base. So you're talking about workshops, garages, factories, etc.
All those places.
So the smallest one would be, say, somebody's private garage.
Yes.
And then an intermediate would be a small workshop.
Yeah.
Or some agricultural, like a dairy or something.
Yes. Boiler rooms.
Oh right, yeah, boiler rooms.
That sort of thing.
And then a large contract would be like a big warehouse.
Yes, you imagine a 3,000 square metre.
That's massive.
It is massive.
Yeah.
But those are the sort of jobs that are being done with these products.
Okay.
Because they can be very heavy duty. They can be non-slip. They can be coloured in any way.
Yeah.
They can be made completely safe. For walkways and forklift truckways and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, walkways. So you can colorise certain areas and have lines. Okay, right.
Non-slip. Yeah.
Now we've talked about the final coatings and things. What about if you've got an older workshop? What products will we be selling, to repair cracks?
Yes,
just generally, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, not all concrete surfaces are in perfect condition.
No.
So you could use an epoxy screed, which is an epoxy-based resin mixed with an aggregate that gives you a good build-up, so you can actually put almost a new floor topping on that concrete.
From what minimum to maximum?
Anything from sort of 2 to 20 mil.
Oh, okay, right.
Because you can build up on top of itself, so you can actually build up on each layer.
And some of these are self-leveling too, aren't they?
Some are self-leveling, so they're applied with the ordinary flooring systems are applied with rollers.
Yeah.
But epoxy screeds are obviously troweled down because it's a much thicker material.
Okay.
But that would actually self-level, and you could actually put an epoxy colour coat on top of that, although it can be coloured originally anyway.
What do you do when you've got holes and cracks?
Okay, so there's also an epoxy grout and
Right.
epoxy putties, which are basically the same material, but they're filled with fillers to create a substance to...
Well, what's the difference between a putty and a grout?
A grout is like a concrete, a slightly thicker concrete material, so that it pushes into a hole and can be smoothed out.
Got you.
A putty may be pushed into perhaps a vertical, so it sits there in holes, and also perhaps a joint in the concrete. You may use a putty.
No, I think I get that one.
I mean, there's even an underwater putty. So you can actually apply it underwater for marinas, for swimming pools, and it actually sits in there, holds in, and cures off underwater.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's clever stuff.
That's cool. Now, I do know you've been away and done a bit of training. Now, I don't want to sit here for like half an hour discussing it.
No.
But it would be nice to hear roughly the highlights of what you found interesting about your training.
Okay.
What the job was, for instance.
Yeah.
And how many people, and what, I believe it was quite a substantial job, wasn't it?
It was actually, yes. It was a new factory build, 2,700 square metres, so quite a sizable place.
That's huge.
It is pretty big, yeah, sort of, going on football size. Now, the floor surface was pretty good, but obviously it has to be keyed up to take the coating system, for the coating system to bond to. So they start off with mechanical sanders. These are like 30-inch diameter sanding discs, and they just work the way very, very methodically across the whole of the surface, working all the way down to abrading the surface to get a good key.
Yeah. Then what happens?
And then they have to go back to the start and vacuum the whole area.
Yeah.
And
With
with industrial vacuum cleaners to make sure all the dust is taken away. It's extracted into the bags that are connected to the sanders, but also obviously to the vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
So it's a completely dust-free, dry surface when they get to the other end, and then they begin the process of applying the sealer, which epoxy sealer is a slightly thinner material than the top coat, so it's absorbed into the surface of the concrete.
Well, that's a pretty standard thing to do on a porous surface. You seal it, don't you?
Yes.
With what's eventually going to be the top coat, but it has a little bit more penetrative quality, doesn't it?
Yes.
So you sealed it.
It seals it. That actually highlights any little holes and blemishes that may be. So they then go along and put in, like, spreading one of these grouts or putties just to give it a nice clean surface, rub that off.
How did they apply the sealer? Was it with rollers?
Yes.
What were they?
12-inch wide rollers
from
with
trays
extendable
or from
handles.
buckets?
Buckets. So they mix it up because these are two pack epoxies. So there's two parts to them. Yeah. So they mix the B to the A.
Yeah.
They mix it with a mechanical mixer on the end of a drill.
All right.
Yeah, you can't mix with a
too slow.
It's too slow, and you need to make sure it's completely mixed, thoroughly. So they mix it for about 5 minutes with the mixer.
And how long does this stuff last before it goes off?
This particular system lasts for about 40 to 50 minutes before it starts to go. It's all temperature related.
Oh, right, okay.
So obviously it was pretty cold last week, so it was a little bit slower.
Yeah.
They can adapt the product and speed it up a little bit with some increased in curing agent, but that's they can vary because you can get a summer grade and a winter grade.
Yeah. So the whole factory is now done as a seal.
So they start at the beginning again. There's 6 people working on this particular job. They're all working backwards together, keeping a line. They come right to the end, and then that is completely sealed.
And how long does it take for that? In this instance, how long did it take?
In this instance, this took a little bit longer than normal because the surface was so cold. Yeah. Probably about 2 degrees on the surface. It was only 4.5 degrees outside, so it was a pretty cold day. So normally this would take about 7 to 8 hours to be able to walk onto.
So how long did this one take?
This one took 12 or 13 hours.
All right.
So they lost a little bit of time there.
You'd leave it overnight.
And
you came in and still found it tacky. Didn't you?
It was a little bit tacky.
So what did you do then?
They had to leave it for a few more hours. They opened the shutters to let a bit of air through.
Yeah.
And eventually it was prepared ready. Bearing in mind that the beginning has gone off a few hours before the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So they could go back up to the other end and start there and
Yeah.
start working back slowly as it probably.
Well, once they've done the sealer and the final coat, why would they need to go back anyway? Oh, are we talking about the sealer being?
The sealer being
was the slow one.
was slow one because
right.
that's against the
Yeah.
surface, which is particularly cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you start the top coat, it's a bit warmer.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it isn't against that.
So you
concrete.
didn't have a delay on the top coat.
No.
And that meant you could finish the job.
They completely coated the top coat right from start to finish within it was about 8 hours.
Yeah.
Literally going right the way through without stopping.
And that's actually the job done then, wasn't
That's
it?
the job done.
And
Yeah.
then most of the staff were able to go, but leaving just the organiser.
Just the last person to
Yeah.
check everything out, make sure everything was okay.
Yeah, and get signed off basically.
Get it signed off,
Yeah.
close the doors and walk away.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. That.
Yes, no, it's fantastic. The surface looks fantastic, particularly when it's a gloss surface.
Was that a gloss one?
Yeah.
Why? Why was it gloss as
Well, they put a non-slip additive in the base coat in the sealer just to give it a little bit of non-slip surface
underneath?
Yes,
And
but not on the top coat.
What was that non-slip material? Do you know?
It's just a sand.
Yeah.
Basically,
That comes in a bag.
It comes in a bag, or you can,
Oh,
you
right.
can have it pre-added, or you can add it yourself.
And
as
then what
time
did they
goes
do?
by.
Add it in?
It was already pre-added on this particular.
Oh, okay.
Because it was such a massive job, they had lots and lots of material to mix, so they didn't want to be having to add extra bits to it.
Yeah.
But so that's a gloss surface, but with a slightly non-slip
Yeah. No, that's cool.
to it.
So to summarise, your job now is to sort of analyse what products we need to offer in the range and what colours.
Yeah.
And then what we'll be doing is some demonstration videos of
Yes.
like grouting and the putty and the preparation,
Yeah.
and then various applications of various epoxies.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that about it then?
Yeah. What we need to do is give a good spread of the materials that are on offer.
Yeah.
So a product for every particular job, if you like.
Yeah.
There are millions of products out there, so we've got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, because one thing we haven't mentioned is the polyurethane.
Yes, polyurethane.
That would
paint.
be like the most inexpensive way.
That
of
is the
doing
most basic,
Yeah.
reasonable, heavy-duty coating. You
So
can
if I was doing my garage, I'd say, oh, I don't need an epoxy, I'll use a polyurethane.
Yeah, if the floor's quite reasonable and you're quite happy with the surface,
Yeah.
you could get away with a polyurethane paint.
A floor, a specialist floor,
A floor paint. You can paint several coats onto itself, so you
Yeah.
can build it up a little bit like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so we need a range of a basic polyurethane paint, an epoxy flooring system,
Yeah.
which would be, the high build product,
Yeah.
the solvent-free product, and the water-based product.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the concrete screed, so if you need a thickness or you need a new kind of coverage,
Yeah, no, I
you've
get
got the
that.
screeds there and the epoxies to go with that.
Yeah.
And then the adhesives and the putties and the grouts,
Yeah.
which do all the filling and
And then all
repairing.
the specialist tools.
Specialist tools, 12-inch rollers,
Yeah.
extendable handles, the buckets, the wide buckets,
Yeah.
because you're dipping into it and
Yeah.
to roll. Spike shoes.
Did you wear those spike shoes?
No, I didn't, because
Why?
I made sure I kept back of it because I didn't want to get in their way because it was such a big job.
All right. Well, did some of them?
They did, yeah, because you can walk back onto it and not damage the surface at all. You see.
And did all of them wear them? Or just,
No, just two of the guys. So if they saw a little patch they thought might need a look,
They were the fixers.
They would just walk out and just touch it up and then walk backwards. So yeah, but the basic PPE, so coveralls, gloves, boots. You can wear Wellington boots. 'Cause you can throw them away at the end if you need to, or you can just break them off and there's to use again. So the basic PPE stuff. With an epoxy screed, it's slightly different because you're troweling the material on because it's so thick, and then you go along with a spike roller, which gets rid of all the air.
Oh right, okay.
It brings the air to the surface,
Yeah.
so that obviously it doesn't become encased in the product.
Now, the only extension to the product range that I think you've omitted is the exotic metal flake and colour.
Oh yes.
Now
the design.
we won't necessarily be doing that initially because obviously we need a grounding in the basics.
Yes.
But the exciting thing is the future where you want some extremely artistic floor done. Now, you've seen a few of these, haven't you?
Yes, I mean, for some reason it's fairly new to us in this country, but in America they've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's a special nanoparticle pigment
Yeah.
that they put into the epoxy resin. And that actually creates almost a 3D image. You can make it so that it's like marble effect,
Yeah.
or you can put patterns into it. It becomes quite arty in the end, actually.
Yeah.
There's some amazing jobs being done with this material.
But that's something
That's something that we
move into when we've got our grounding.
Yeah, I mean, once we've sorted out with the base products and working well with those, we can introduce that. But that is certainly a massively growing market for these type of floors.
All right. Well, I think we've covered all points, haven't we?
I think so.
It's, very interesting to interview you. And well, I wish you luck, with the product range and establishing them, and marketing and obviously selling them.
Thank you. I'm very confident that we'll be successful with this.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.